Okay, we're on Tzad Gimel Amud Beis. That's 93b. We're up to the words Bar Kuziba. It's in the middle of the page. Yeah. If you think Hashem, you're able to learn Torah every day. It's also about learning. You should have a place in Midrash. Learning for Shlema, for Naftali ben Bela, and for Shlema for everyone else that needs. And for safety in Eretz Yisrael, for the hostages. Okay, starts like this. Bar Kuziva Malach Tartin Shninu Palga. Bar Kuziva, he was a Jewish general. Rashi says he was from the king of Hordus, from a descendant of Hordus. He was not really Jewish. They were Edomian. And was like a slave of the Hashmonai kingdom. And whatever the case is, he led a revolt against the Romans and he ruled for 2.5 years. Amlu Rabbanan, he's told to the sages, I'm Mashiach. He said, I'm Mashiach. Okay, it's got competition. Anyway, Amrulay, they told him, Mashiach ksiv the Merech Vadayin. It says Mashiach knows how to judge with his smell. Merech Vadayin, he smells and he judges, right? Let's take a look. Let's say, okay, smell, see if there's innocent. Given the Chazin blame Merech Vadayin, Katlu, they saw that he wasn't innocent, and so they killed him. Well, why'd they kill him? There's different pshatim here. One pshat is they killed him because he was a false prophet. Another pshat is not they killed him, that he was killed by the Romans. The Rambam does not take this Gemara as the authoritative. He has other sources that say that he died for other reasons, not because there was judges or something, because of the judgment. Anyway, over here from this Gemara, his comes out to be just a scoundrel. But from the other Gemara, the Rambam considers, and the Rambam writes that he's Rabbi Akiva thought he was Mashiach, and he was really Becheskas Mashiach. And he could have made it, but he messed up later. Yeah. Okay. Naftali, you want to say something? All right. Now the Gemara says, Daniel, Hanania, Mishael, Vazariah, Iksiv, Behu, Asher, Ein Behem, Kol Mum. 6 things about them. Tevimar, these four people, Daniel, Hanania, Mishael, Vazariah, says about them that they have no blemish. Tevimar, they're good looking. Maskilim B'chol Chachma, they understand all wisdom. Yedei Das, they know knowledge. Mevinim Mada, they have understanding of Mada, science, of everything. They have the ability to stand in the king's house. Alamdam Sefer Lashon Custom, they can learn, they can read, I guess, and they can speak in Chaldean. So, Maya Shein Behamum. Now we go back to explain. What does it mean that they have no blemish? Rav Chama Bar Chanina says, I feel the kusilta lehavibu. He didn't even have the scrape from the bloodletting utensil. You couldn't even see that scar on them. We don't ask the other things. I guess those are obvious. What does it mean they have the strength to stand in the chamber of the king? Apparently, if you're in the king's presence, so you have to control yourself from laughter, from talking, from sleeping, and you have to be able to stand without using the bathroom. Just like the royal guards, in front of the palace, Buckingham Palace. The kids try to make them laugh. They try to make them, they're stoic. There's no emotion. They just stand there, and they can't use the bathroom either. And there was from them, from the descendants of Yehuda, Daniel, Hanani, Mishael, Vazariah. Well, before we learned that these are all descendants of David or descendants of Yehuda, right? Like, because Baya said, anyway, not everyone agrees with that teaching us from before. And Ramar Abelazar says, all of them come from Yehuda. Only Daniel was from Yehuda, and they came from the other tribes. We said before about the six, well, there's different interpretations. Okay. Remember, Bayaz gave six, he said six people are going to come. One of them, David, Mashiach, Daniel, Hanani, Mishael, Vazai. Okay, that I guess doesn't fit with this one interpretation. Now it says, "Mibanecha she'etz mimeka she'teled yikachu v'hayu sarisim behechal melech Bavel." From your sons that will come out from you, they will take and they will be. A saris could mean either a eunuch or it could mean like a minister. There'll be ministers by the king of Bavel, in the chamber of the king of Bavel. My sarisim. What does it mean, sarisim? Rav Amar sarisim mamash. Rav says it means that they were eunuchs. It means that they were castrated. Why would they do this? Why were they castrated? People that worked in the king's palace were castrated so that they should be free just to serve the king. Now, this doesn't fit with what was said before, that they moved to Israel and they had children. Right? Remember that? Yesterday we learned, besides for the dry bones that Yechezkel revived, we also learned that after they were saved, the Gemara says, what happened to them after they were saved from the fire? It says they went to Israel and they had children. So this would not fit with them. This Gemara wouldn't fit with that. Rav. Doesn't mean that they were eunuchs. It means that Avodah Zarah was uprooted in their days. Sorry? Rav. That's in the text itself. Telling me that it was Rav that said yesterday, and Rav is contradicting himself today. Rav said yesterday. Yeah, that's no problem. That's what we're saying. I thought you were saying that Rav was the one that said it yesterday. He was contradicting himself. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Okay. That's not a problem. Okay. This time, it's good according to the opinion that says that Avodah Zarah was uprooted in their days. But it says when they were in the furnace, it says that they had no wound. Right? It says there was no wound on them when they were in the furnace. That's what it says. But according to the opinion, it says that they were castrated. What does it mean that there was no wound on them? Of course, there was a wound. They were castrated. There was no wound of fire. There was no burn wound on them. That's what it meant, what we learned yesterday. But we have another pasuk that says, there was no smell of fire. The smell of fire is bad. It says, it means there was no wound or a smell. Okay, so there's no wound of the fire. There was no burn and there was no smell. Yeah, let me just go back and look at this. Yeah, Rav last time said that they died from Ayin Hara. It was Rabbi Yochanan that said they went to Eretz Yisrael and they had children. So there's no problem with that. With Rav saying now that they were castrated. Or the sages said, yeah, but it wasn't Rav. Yeah. Okay. Now, what do we say? If we go to these verses in Yeshaya, which we read in the Haftarah on the Tainus, it says, according to the opinion that says, the idolatry was uprooted in their days. So says Hashem to the Sarisim that guard my Shabbos. What's he saying that guard my Shabbos? Saying that you took Avodah Zarah away. But according to the one that says that they were castrated, is that what the pasuk is saying? Saying that the shame of the righteous, just calling them castrated eunuchs? My answer is hava hava. The truth is, according to that opinion, yes, they were eunuchs. But the pasuk was praising them here when it says Sarisim was that they uprooted Avodah Zarah. They had both. According to the opinion that says they were eunuchs, but they also uprooted Avodah Zarah. So the pasuk here is referring to the good part, not the bad part. According to the one that says that they were actually eunuchs, in my house and in my wall there'll be a Yad Vashem, the memorial. Yad Vashem means memorial. Why does Yad Vashem mean a memorial? Hashem means a memorial. What is Yad? Yad Vashem. What's the background to that?
What the background? What's this?
No, I understand the background, but there must have been some sort of symbolism that this would be a memorial. Maybe a Yad maybe means like a statue of some sort or something engraved. Must have been like a memorial as a. Okay. Tayiv mibanim mibanis, even better than children. A memorial even better than children. Why does it have to say a memorial better than children? Because they can't have children because they were castrated. Okay. Now we understand what that means. But according to the one that says no, they weren't castrated. They just they uprooted Avodah Zarah. My type mibanim mibanis. Why does it say a memorial better than sons and daughters? Apparently they had children before, but they had passed away. But that doesn't mean that they were castrated. That's why it says Temi Ban Mibanas. Better than the children that didn't survive. You'll have an everlasting name that will not be cut off. Rav Tancham says, Bar Kapara in Tzipari taught the following. Sefer Daniel. What does it mean you'll have an everlasting remembrance that will not be cut off? This is the book of Daniel Shnikral Shemai. It was called by Daniel's name. Okay. That's the everlasting memorial. Michti. Here's a question. Kol mili de Ezra. All that matters, everything that Ezra did or said, Nehemiah ben Chachalia Amrinu, was said over by Nehemiah. Nehemiah was the important official that came from Persia. He said it over. Nehemiah ben Chachalia, my time Yikri Sifra Shmei. Why wasn't it called Nehemiah? Back in the days of Gemara, they didn't have a book called Nehemiah. They only had a book called Ezra. It was one big book. Yeah. So Amar Yirmiyah Baraba explains because he took credit, so he didn't get the book named after him. It's called Ezra instead of Nehemiah. Shenemar Zachrali Alikai Lateva, remember me Hashem for good. Gemara says that's a problem. Remember me with the goodwill of your nation, remember me with your salvation. Gemara says, David was davening for salvation, for compassion. He wasn't saying that he just wanted to be remembered, that his name should be remembered. Rabbi Yosef says, because he spoke bad about the earlier people. When he was, I guess, getting permission to build the Beis Hamikdash, so he would, in this description of what was going on before, he said that the governor before him had been hard on the people, and he took from them bread and wine, such and such amount of shkalim, and anyway, he was he spoke disparagingly about the earlier people that were there. Rafal Daniel Shagalim Menasiper even spoke bad about Daniel. Minalan the Gadol Mimenu. How do we know that he was greater? No.
Can I go back to Yad Vashem for a second?
Yeah.
PhD. So we were just referring it to when we talk about units. All right, so it says here, the original verse refers to eunuchs who, although they did not have children, could still live with eternity with the Lord. So that's why Yad Vashem was originally in the pasuk here, eunuchs,
right?
Because he's saying no, they still have name. But the thought came to me that when you think of the Holocaust, you think of two things. You think of a lot of things, but two things come to mind. One is that people were considered nameless. They were just given numbers, right? You number this, you don't have a name. I mean, that's what the Nazis did. And the other thing is where they put the numbers on the yad. So when we give Yad Vashem, we're giving back a name. Now, I don't know if that was done, but I mean, it does sound like a pot.
Now, I'm just wondering if in the olden days, how did the Navi use that imagery of the memorial? Navi's using the image by saying Yad Vashem. So shame, I'll make you a name. Shame, everlasting name. What does it mean a Yad? I mean a Yad. What does the Yad? What does Yad have to do with memorial? Yeah. What did the Navi mean? I'm not asking what the memorial Yad Vashem meant. They took it from the prophet. What was the Navi? What imagery was there that made him say that? Yeah. What I'm asking.
Can Yad be exchanged with aid?
Oh, maybe something like that. Maybe like a testament. Maybe it has another meaning as a testament. Okay. Is that where they have the hand? They took that from Yad Vashem, down here in South.
That's what I assume.
That's the Yad, the hand. Yeah.
I don't know. We have to ask the sculptor.
The sculptor that did that, he also did the shul in South Beach, the Chabad shul. There's engravings on the wall, he did those engravings also. There's a menorah and there's Oh, so now it says that then it says Shem Olam Etin, I will give you an everlasting name. That's referring to the book of Daniel. Yeah. Is that also the Yad Vashem that it was talking about? I guess so. Okay. Now it says, how do you know Daniel was greater than Nehemiah? The Ksiv Risani Daniel Avadia Samara, Vanashim Mashimi Laira Samara, Aval Harada Gadel Nafla Aleim, Yivrichu Bechabe. Vanashim Mashayo, Imi Laira Samara, Mani Anashim, Amrab Yirmia Vitim Rab Chibarab, Zechagi Zecharia Malachi. Says that we're saying that he's greater, that Daniel was greater than Nehemiah. And we're saying, how do we know that Daniel was greater than him? Because he was greater than Chagi Zecharia Malachi. They were the prophets. Well, Daniel says that I alone saw the vision, but the people that were with me did not see the vision, but they had a great fear. They were terrified. This terror came over them, and they went into hiding. What does it mean? Who were the people that were with him that didn't see it? Yirmiyah Barabba says in some say Reb Chia Barabba says it was Chagi, Zechariah, Malachi, those other prophets. Inu Adifim Minei. They, the prophets, were greater than Daniel. The Iyu Adif Minayo, and Daniel is greater than them. Inu Adifim Minei. They are greater than him. The Inu Nevi Violai Navi. They are prophets, and he's not a prophet. He saw the prophecy. He saw the vision, but he wasn't a prophet. I guess that means he's not a prophet, meant that his prophecies were not meant to be passed on. He had no instructional prophecies. But he is greater than them, because he saw the vision and they didn't see the vision. If they didn't see it, so why did they get frightened? Even though they didn't see anything, but their mazel, their like spirit, their spirit saw it. They didn't see it, and that caused them to be frightened based on their mazel seeing some. Mazel is like their angel above. So this is quoted in Chassidus. Okay, Amar Ravina. Ravina says, "Shmamina hayman demavis afagav diolay chazi maslayo chazi." Someone that's frightened, even if he doesn't see anything, but why is he frightened? Because his mazel is seeing something. That's a healthy way of looking at this. You can also be paranoid, but I guess the healthy way is that something spiritually is going on. My takante, what do you do? Linchef miduchte arbar gamidi. You should jump from your place 4 amas. That will help. Inami, or else what do you do? Likr Krishma, you recite Shema. But if you're in a place where you can't recite Shema, you should say the following. Easy debate. We had this Gemara before. The goats in the butcher shop are fatter than me. Which means you don't have to come and take me. There's goats that have more meat on them. Yeah. Do you remember where we had this? Where we had this Gemara? I don't remember where we had it, but we had this before this.
To jump of 4 places.
Is that a Megillah? Interesting. Okay. Anyway, it says like this. The new pasuk we're talking now. The marba hamisra. Increase. Misra was the government. Increase the government. L'shalom in kates, and to peace there's no end. Rab Tanchum says, kol mem teva pasuach. This is a very interesting word because it says lamarba, mem of lamarba. Is it the mem of lamarba or the mem of hamisra? I think it's lamarba. Lamarba, yeah. It has a final mem, even though it's in the middle of the word. Beginning of the word. Why does it have a final mem? Well, it's what it's coming to tell us is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu lost Chizkiah Mashiach. Hashem wanted to make the king Chizkiah be the Mashiach, the Sanhedrin of Gog and Magog, and the enemy that was fighting against Chizkiah was Sanhedrin. He would be the nation of Gog and Magog. I guess it can just like, flip it around. Gog and Magog could be this one, could be that one. But however, the attribute of judgment says to Hashem Rabbeinu Shalom. Ma David Melech Yisrael Shamar Kamashir Susishbachas Mashiach Mashiach. David, the king of Israel, that he said so many praises in front of you, you didn't make a Mashiach. Chizkiah, that did all these, that you did so many miracles for him, and he didn't say any praises, and now you want to make a Mashiach? That's why it was closed, and that's the mem was closed off. Immediately the earth opened up and said, don't worry, I'll say I'll say song. I'll sing a song instead of this tzaddik. Vasel Mashiach, and you'll make him Mashiach. So the earth starts to sing. From the edges of the earth, we hear song. Svila tzaddik v'geimer. Glory to the righteous. Amar Sara Eilam Lefanav, the angel of the world says to Hashem, Rabbeinu Shleilam, Tzivyenyas l'tzaddik, do the will of the tzaddik. Yetza Baskal v'amra, Razili Razili. He says, no, I have my secrets. Amar Navi, the prophet says, Oili ad Masai. Woe is to me, until when? Yetza Baskal v'amra, Bagdim Bagdu, Beged Bagdim Bagdu. The rebels are rebellious, and knows that the rebels of the rebels are rebellious. Amar Rav v'yitem Rabbi Yitzchak ad asib bezuzi bezuzi de bezuzi, until the looters of the looters come, the people stealing from the looters. Okay, that's when Mashiach's going to come. Masa duma elai kare niseyer, shemer ma milaila, shemer ma milel v'geimer. Okay, what does this pasuk mean? A burden of duma calls to me from Seir. The guard calls from at night. Guard from at night. Sorry. Duma could be in the name of an idol. It could be in the name of a prophet. Not of a prophet, of an angel. Rabbi Yechanan says, the angel that's in charge of the spirits, of the demons, of the spirits, he's called Duma. His name is Duma. The skap's called Ruchatz Yitzel Duma. All the spirits come to Duma. Shemer ma milaila, shemer ma milel. Guard. The guard, which is Hashem, what is he saying? I'm not sure if Milila means from at night. Milila means like, is it Milel, which means to speak, or is it Milila means at night? How do they translate that? How do they translate that?
So we're saying night, like when we're waiting for the final light of day, like Hashem.
Right. But how do they translate the verse? Read it in English.
Watchman, what of the night?
What of the night? Now continue.
Watchman, what of the night?
Oh, so both of them are night.
Wait,
Mamilel and
when will the exile end?
right. Okay, that I understand. What of the night means when's the exile gonna end? Amar Shemer, the watchman says, Asabaika, the morning will come. The Gam Laila will also be light, will also be night. Im Tivan, if you request, request. Shuvu, return, Asayu, and come. Okay. Tana Mishum Papayas. It's taught in the name of Papayas, Gnayo Lechizki V'siyat Shlem Mashir Shepascharetz V'Mashira. That it was really a disgrace for Chizkiah that he did not say praise. He had to wait for the earth to say praise. Shnemer Miknaf Aretz Zmir Shemana Tefillah Tzadik. As it says, from the edge of the earth, song they heard, glory to the righteous. That was a shame that Chizkiah didn't say praises first. Similar to this, it says, Vayemer Yisrei Baruch Hashem Asher Hitzel Eschem. Yisrei came and he said, blessed is Hashem that he saved you. Tana Mishum Rapapayas, taught in the name of Rapapayas, Ganayo LaMoshe V'Shishim Ribay. It's a shame, it's a disgrace for Moshe and for the 10,000, which means 600,000. Shlayamru Baruch, Ad Sheba Yisrei V'Amar Baruch Hashem. Until Yisrei came and he said, Baruch Hashem. Someone said Baruch Hashem after all those miracles. I don't get what the problem is. They sang Az Yasher. It's pretty good. No?
He said Baruch Hashem.
I guess the words Baruch Hashem. Yichad Yisrei. Yisrei was, well, we'll see what Yichad means. Could be he was afraid. Rabbi Shmuel. It's machlekes what Yichad means. Rav Amar Shever Cherev Chada Al Basari. Yichad means that he used a sharp utensil on his flesh, which meant that he circumcised himself. Shmuel Amar Shanasa Chidudim. Al Basari. I think they translated this that he got goosebumps. But Chedudim means that it was cuts over his skin. That means he felt very unpleasant about what he was hearing, because he was hearing about what happened to Egypt. Amar Rav, this is what Rav says, this is what people say. Yura, a convert, a stranger, a convert. Until 10 generations, he can't speak bad about his past. Yisra, he was a convert. Yisra wasn't the 10th generation. It's just an example. It says that they still have a feeling for the old community. L'chein, Yishlach ha'adain Hashem tzivakis b'mashmanav rozain. Hashem, Master will send in his fat ones. He'll send leanness. My mashmanav rozain. What do you mean the fat one will send leanness? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yaveh Chizkiyahu. Chizkiyahu will come. Shishli Shmeina Shemes. Be from Sanhedrin. Shishli Shmeina Shemes.
Rabbi, when we read this thing by Yisrael, initially it sounds like it's a Gedai, but I think it's a Shvach. In other words, they're sensitive that, boy, where I came from, had they not seen what I saw, then they would have converted too. But
You think so?
they didn't, so look what's before them. I don't think it's a negative.
That's interesting. It's interesting. I didn't view it as a Gnai either. I viewed it as you still have a natural feeling towards the family, the biological family. You hear like something bad happened, and say like, okay, well, who cares? They're not Jewish, they still recognize them as their family. Okay. Well, Chizkiyahu that has 8 names is going to come and take revenge from Sanhedrin that also has 8 names. Chizkiyahu, what are the 8 names of Chizkiyahu? The Ksiv, Kiyolad Yulad Lanu Bein Nitin Lanu, Kiyolad Lanu Bein Nitin Lanu, but Tihi Amishral Shechmai, but Yikra Shmai, Kala Yayat Kel Gibar Aviyad Sar Shalom. Yeah. They're going to call him Wondrous Counsel, God, or Strong One, probably Strong One, Father, Forever, Minister of Peace. Vika Chizkiyahu. What about this other name, Chizkiyahu? Says Shechazkuka. That's not his real name. That's just a name that we gave him because Hashem strengthened. That wasn't an actual name.
Just say, sorry. When I read this, I right away thought of my older son, his name is Chazoni. And everyone thinks Chazoni is his Hebrew name. Chazoni is not. It's like Chizkiyahu. His Hebrew name is Chaim Zev Nachman.
Oh.
But we were on the birth certificate in Metrikon, we wrote Chazon, and that's how we ended with Chazoni or Zoni.
Isn't
So
that
it
interesting?
reminded me here.
Wow.
It's not the Hebrew name.
So what's his actual name?
Chaim Zev Nachman.
Chaim Zev Nachman. Uh-huh. Who was that? Who was Chaim Zev Nachman? Relatives.
3 different relatives.
Wow. Uh-huh. Okay. Davar Acher, another in Pshat. Chizkiyahu shechizek es Yisrael avim shebashamayim. Not that Hashem strengthened him, but that he strengthened Israel to the Father in heaven. Sanhedrin, what are all the names of Sanhedrin? Said that he has 8 names. Sanhedrin came to exile the North Kingdom, right? And he also came to attack Yerushalayim. Sanhedrin, the Ksiv, Tiglas, Palasar. Here it's assuming that Tiglas, that this is the same one that came. Tiglas, Palasar, Palnesar, Shalmanesar, Pul, Sargon. Here, Sargon is this Sanhedrin. Asnapar Rabba, the Akira. Okay. Because Sanhedrin, what about Sanhedrin? Shasichta Yiriv, that his speech was always argumentative. Davracher Shasach, Benicha Dvarim Kalapi Maila, that he spoke and he snorted things towards Hashem. I meant that not that he snorted, but that he said things like blasphemy. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, why is he called the great and precious Asnapar? Because he didn't speak bad about Israel. Isn't that special? Not to speak bad about Israel. He says, I'm going to come and I'm going to exile you to a land that's going to be similar to your land. He didn't say, I'm going to take you to a land that's better than your land. Yeah, you don't want to say something bad about Eretz Yisrael. Rav Shmuel's Chadam Melech Bikeach. One of them says that Sanhedrin was very wise. One says he was very foolish. According to the one that says that he was wise, if I tell them that I'm going to bring them to a land that's greater than their land, it's better than their land, they say there's no land that's better than our land, you're a liar. The one that says that he was a fool, he says, what's he telling them? I'm going to bring you to a land that's going to be similar. Okay, where did he take them to? But Africa, he took them to Africa. Okay, guess it depends where. In Africa.
He took him to Johannesburg.
Yeah, better than all those other countries, third world countries, all in the middle over there. Go to the desert. Rabbi Chanina Malahari Slug brought him to the mountains of Slug. I don't know what Hari Slug are. Any comment over there where they are? I don't know either. What is it? The Koran one? All right.
Koran knows them.
Okay, Africa, Hari Slug. Africa is the typical term for the continent of Africa, particularly the Roman province established in place of Carthage. Okay, that's in the north. That place, located on the Mediterranean coast, has roughly the same latitude as Eretz Yisrael and a climate similar to the climate of Eretz Yisrael. Interesting. In this context, some explain that Africa is Persia in Asia Minor, or the name of a province in Elam. The location of the Slug Mountains is unclear. There's perhaps a reference to the Caucasus Mountains. Where is that? Where are those mountains? You know?
Okay, it's no. This shows it between Turkey, north of Turkey and Georgia, and between Turkey and Russia, lesser and greater.
So they went up. They took them north, according to that. That's interesting. Okay, whatever the case is, they didn't go to India. Unless they went from there, they ended up in India and other places. If they're in Ethiopia, like 10 tribes, that could be like Ethiopia or something. When did the Ethiopians say that they're from the 10 tribes?
Yeah.
So then from Africa, they went to Ethiopia. That's not a big deal. Okay. Well, but the Jewish people did speak bad about Eretz Yisrael. Kimatu sus amri shabu kiarin. When they came to the place of Sus, they said, "This is like our land." Kimatu alman amr alman. When they came to a place called Alman, they said, "This is like Alman." Kimatu sus trey. When they came to the second place called Sus, amri al chad trein, they said that one here is similar to two by us, and that's even better than Eretz Yisrael. B'tachas Kavayda Yikaid ki Yikaidesh. And under his glory is a blazing fire. Who is the glory of who? Who is this? Say, Sanhedrin. Okay, I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Tachas Kavayda v'lei Kavayda mamash. It doesn't mean his tachas kavayda means underneath his clothing, his body got burned. And kavayda means under his glory, under his honor, meant his clothing.
It's his soldiers.
Yeah. What happened was he took an extra night. He said, the men will do this in the morning. This looks like it's going to be easy. So they rested that night. And in the morning, and during the night, the angel came and killed 185,000 soldiers. Yeah. So, they died. It's a thing. All the soldiers or him
Soldiers
consume the bodies of the troops. So, but the clothing was left intact, but the bodies were burnt. No, did I say that the clothing was left intact? The bodies were burnt. Now, Rabbi Lazar says different. Rabbi Lazar says that no, the bodies were not burnt either. It was the soul inside that got burnt. The bodies were also intact. Malal and Shrefa, just like by the sons of Aaron. Malal and Shrefa's neshama of Guf Kayan. Just like over there, the body was intact. Of Khan, Shrefa's neshama of Guf Kayan. Tana b'mishnei Rabbi Shua ben Karcha was taught in the name of Rabbi Shua ben Karcha. Parish shechir b'atzmi nifrak me'akadosh baruch hu men b'atzmi. Pari that blasphemed Hashem. So Hashem himself, he did it himself. So then Hashem punished him himself. Sanhedrin Daf. Is this with the Rabshakeh? They say that he sent a messenger to blaspheme. So therefore, Hashem punished him also through a messenger. Parad says, who is Hashem? I should listen to his voice. Well, Hashem punished him back. Want to know who I am? I'll show you. He shook him up into the sea. You trampled in the sea your horses. That's talking about the Paras horses, right? Yeah, not that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sancherev, on the other hand, Ksiv Biad Malachecha Cherfas Hashem, in the hands of your messenger is the blasphemy Hashem. Nifra Kadosh Beno al Shliach. So Hashem punished him also through a shliach, through a messenger. Ksiv Yitzim Malach Hashem Biach Machna Asher Meir Shmeina V'Chamish Melech Gamer. That the angel of Hashem went out and killed in the camp of Assyria 185,000 men. Rabbi Chanina bar Papa Rami. Chanina bar Papa asked the question. It says it's a contradiction. Ksiv Marim Kitzei. What's the whole verse?
Wait, so we said the difference is where you personally blaspheme Hashem personally forgive you, but when there's via messenger, there's Hashem is
right. Is it saying that it's better to get punished directly from Hashem? Is that what it means to say?
No, that's just always me to connect me.
Okay. So the pasuk says that Sancherev said, "I will enter into its farthest heights." Talking about Yerushalayim. Siv Marim Kitzai. Kitzai is its farthest in Maraim, the heights. Siv Malain Kitzai. But then there's another pasuk, and that pasuk is in Yeshaya. This pasuk is in Malachim. It says Malain, the farthest lodge. Talking about how he's going to attack Yerushalayim. Amar Eiser Rasha, that Sancherev, the wicked one, said, "B'tchilach of Yerushalmata." First, I'll destroy the lower dwelling, the earth, the dwelling on earth, which means the base of Migdash. And afterwards, I'll go and to destroy the heavens as well. I'm Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Let's see if I can do this. Shua ben Levi says, what's the meaning of the pasuk? Ata, hamibalade Hashem alisi ala makim azel ashrisai. Says this is Rav Shakeh, which was the messenger of Sancherev, right? He says, "Have I now come up with Hashem I now come up without Hashem against the place to destroy it. I'm not doing this without Hashem. Hashem Hashem told me that I should destroy the land. Maihi. Where did Hashem say that he should destroy the land? Well, the Shamal Navi the Kamer, he heard the prophet saying, Yanki Masa Masas Meashlar Hol Kumlat, or Masaisis Ratzin ben Ramalia. He's heard the prophet saying that the people have rejected the waters of Shilayach and that flow slowly, and they rejoice over Razin, the son of Ramalia, which is a king of the north. Rabbi Yosef says, not for the Targum, I wouldn't know what was going on here. Now, Rabbi Yosef in general was an expert in Targum because he was blind, so he had to learn that by heart. And he wasn't allowed to learn the Chumash by heart because that's Tersha B'Ksav. So he knew all the Targum by heart. He says, what does it say in the Targum? Chalaf, which means because of the Katzam Hadein Malchus de Beis David, that this nation has rejected the kingdom of David. The Medaber Lein Benayach, that leads them gently. Medaber is to lead. Benayach, gently. Kamei Shalucha Denagdim Benayach, like the waters of the Shlech that flow gently. Visri'iyu, but rather they desired Bratzin ben Ramalia with the kings of the north, which is Razin, king of the north. So therefore Hashem's going to bring on them Sanhedrin. Rabbi Yochanan says, "My diksiv me'iras Hashem bebeis Rasha and aveit tzadikim yavarech." What does it mean? It says, "Cursed of Hashem." The curse of Hashem is in the house of the wicked, and the nevei tzadikim yavarech, the home of the tzadikim is blessed. Me'iras Hashem bebeis Rasha. The curse of Hashem is in the house of the wicked. This is Pekach ben Ramalyo. This was this king of the north, that he would eat 40 sa of birds just for dessert, and he wasn't satisfied. But the home of the tzaddikim is blessed. So he would eat a few vegetables, maybe a liter of vegetables, and he was happy. Yeah, that's the blessing. Be able to eat a little and be satisfied. Therefore, what is it? That's a good diet. Therefore, Hashem brings upon him the strong waters of the river, which is the king of Assyria. And then it also says, you shall go through Yehuda, and he'll run over the even the neck. Then Rab Shakeh is saying that Hashem said he's going to destroy the land. What's the reason why Sanhedrin was punished? Because if it was Hashem's command to destroy the land, so why was Sanhedrin punished? Why did everyone die? It says the prophet only said that he should destroy the northern kingdom of the 10 tribes. You have Daiti al Kul Yerushalayim, but he wanted to go and take Yerushalayim as well. That wasn't part of it. But Navi Varmalei, prophet comes and says, there's no tiredness, which is mutak. Amar Abelazar, what is that? Amar Abelazar ben Brechia, in Nimsar am oyef paterim biad mi ametziklai. A nation that is tired from studying Torah will not be handed over to someone that oppresses it. Let's leave it over here. Up to base my case Rishon. Okay. Are we gonna learn tonight? No, I can't learn tonight. Sorry.
Baruch Hashem.
How far? What is it just the Tzavit Baruch today?
I think we're still 2.5.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
We do it.
We'll learn on Thursday night, I guess. Okay. Yeah, have a good day, everyone. Shikach, Naftali.
You see me when you get on it.
Yeah.
It's just, I leave it.